everyone, it's Monica with Scrap Saturdays. I'm hoping that all of you are awesome, happy, excited, inspired, and ready to scrapbook with me. This is going to be a boy themed layout. I've got some of my supplies out here, and this cardstock came from the Recollections Jewel paper pack, and I really loved the color tones on them. I felt like they picked up a lot on the pattern paper that I chose. So I only took out 2 that I thought I'd use. I got this letters, or these sticker letters, from the dollar store, and I'm only going to be using the ampersand on it. My title's going to be round and round, so I'll use the ampersand for that. And the other thickers that I pulled out are the Delight foam stickers, and these are black. And I like to kind of complete my stickers until the end. I already went ahead and wrote down my journaling for this page, only because I feel that it, takes a little while on camera, and I don't want to make you guys watch for so long. The other part, sometimes I am really doing it with you, so it does take a little while. And I only wrote it halfway because I think I want to tuck it behind the picture. Again, I'm going to be playing with you, so I'm not too sure. I pulled out my let's see, Creative Memories circle cutter. I don't think I'm going to be cutting out circles, but I wanted to kind of place it here, and my idea, excuse me, while I was looking for my things, were that I was going to put the word round, and then the ampersand somewhere along there. This is the photo that inspired my layout today, and it's a photo of my son and my nephew, so my brother's son, and he's also my godson. And he came over to have a sleepover with my son Augustino, and they were brushing their teeth just before bedtime, and I went in there and I wanted to Instagram it, of course, because I have to let everybody know what's going on. And I just thought it was the best picture ever. And I will say that about every single picture, because it is. And so the papers that I pulled out are still from my old collection. Again, I believe these are the Fancy Pants, and I got this huge chunk of mismatched collections, but the paper quality is amazing, and I just loved everything. I love this pebble looking, it reminds me of a storybook that we used to read when we were little about a chameleon or something. It just, looks like that. And I love this side too, and I couldn't decide. I don't know, really what I want to do. And the distressing on it, it's just so cool. Love the paper. And then there's a stripe on the back. And again, it's all from the Rough and Tough by Lily Fancy Pants. I believe this will be my base for my layout today, and the rest will be for some layering. And I will go ahead and cut off this branding strip at the bottom, and I will cut up my photo as well, because it always helps me to determine what I'd like to do with it, or how much space I'm working with. And I seem to sometimes not trim them so well. I always have this gray filtered border on my Instagram. It's my go-to. It's my favorite. It just kind of looks neat. And I love the way that it comes out as a natural border there as well. My garbage bin's a bit too tucked in there. So I'm going to place down my circle cutter as a template, just so that I can lay out my title or know where I should want my photos roughly. And I do want to leave enough space down here for the other title. So I'm just going to lightly draw a circle around the outer edge of this template, just so that I can see what I'm working with. And that seems to be really, really good. I really like that. And so now I'm gonna see if I can do some of this layering that I want. And I didn't want to cut up all of the paper. I do like these stripes and bits, especially the one that says dude. I love that. So it was difficult when I was trying to pick the paper, you know, if I was gonna cut it all up. I just was a little bit sad to cut out the dude part. So we're just gonna try and save that little strip. I don't know why, but that's what I wanna do. Because this one is not, it's not big enough for the layering that I want to do. And I seem to like this corner here. So I'm gonna manhandle it with my super duper large scissors. I'm not even gonna look at the other side. No, I'm not, because if I do, then I'm gonna feel guilty and I don't wanna know, and it's gonna slow me down and all that stuff. So, last night in bed, I was watching Nicole do her awesome videos, Nicole 911, and it was so funny because she was, you know, whatever layout she was doing, she was saying that making videos has helped her to, you know, choose things and be a little bit faster in what she does. You know, less thinking, more doing, because you're thinking, oh my goodness, this video is going to be so long, and then we have to edit the video, and I completely understand that. And I totally agree. I think, you know, when you know the camera is rolling, it does kind of give you that, you know, ants in your pants, go faster, and fidget. Or think about it, like, what do you want? Instead of changing your mind. Not that that's not okay. It is. It's just, you know, it slows us all down. We all have the same roadblocks. We all pause at the same things, and so I'm gonna matte my photo for sure on this blue. Oh, my poor ATG. I'm just not giving it the right kind of love lately, but I think it's ever since I loaded it wrong and I'm rolling it on a different angle. It's almost like somebody else wearing your shoes when your shoes have been so worn out by yourself. You know, it's that awkward thing, the way you walk, the slant in your heel, and then somebody else puts on your shoes and then they notice, or you finally notice, that you walk on a slant. It's the wear out pattern of my ATG. I was so used to the way I was rolling it before that now my adhesive is like, what are you doing? We don't like this. It doesn't feel right. So I'm trying to preserve the natural distress of the layered papers, but it's not really working for my background template circle. So I do kind of have to keep fussing with this and trimming it down so that I do have more exposed of the template. And I know you probably can't see it too much on camera, that it's not picking up as well, but it is there. I'm just going back to some of that paper that I cut up, and I don't know if I do want to introduce a little bit of the stripes behind there as well, just to bring in a little bit more color. And I think I do. How is that looking? But then it's going to cover up too much of my other background paper. So we're going to have to be really precise and stingy and cut down a little bit more, just so that we can have a peekaboo effect of the orange behind there. I'm liking that. Okay, I think that's good. I think that's That's great. It already says do down here. I'm not sure. If that's what I'd like to do. Maybe I don't want to use that. Okay. So, because I'm so worried and overthinking where my title's gonna go, I believe that I'm just gonna try and place down my title and work around it. So I'm gonna challenge myself here and try something different outside my comfort zone. So I got my title in my head because of that song that you're supposed to sing when you brush your teeth. Round and round. Hopefully it's not the Wheels on the Bus song that I'm thinking about, because then I'll be really embarrassed. But I don't want to know. Don't tell me if I'm wrong. I want to be ignorant right here in my little corner and happy with my title. I'll giggle about it after, but I believe I'm right. So that's how I came up with what I wanted to put down for this. And I am putting the second round upside down. I think that's going to create some really fun interest on the page as well. Like I said, it's just different. It's a different challenge for me altogether, but I love it. And now the challenge is going to be whether or not these ampersands are too big or too small. I did pick them because I love the way they look. Some of them in the collections or the letters, they're not so ampersandy. Yes, I just made up that word. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really look like an ampersand. They look like a really weird, fancy one. And if you think about it, you're like, oh, yes. I don't know. I hope you know what I mean. Do I do that? Or do I use these and keep with the theme? So glad you can't see me, like, twisting my head back and forth, because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing the bobby twisty thing with my head. All right, so this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. I'm loving the layers, loving that. Loving the ampersands. They're doing well. It's good. It's nice. It's great. Okay. Yep, I think these are the ones I'm going to go with. I'm going in. There's no turning back, I believe. Again, I fiddle with these. They're very, very thin. They make a great statement on the page and they work well, and they're, you know, from the dollar store, so they're extremely affordable. But you do have to love them very much so that they do what you need them to do for you. And they're so sticky. So sometimes it's really just, you know, when I'm handling them with my own fingers, that's where I have to be even more careful. Does that look about even? Ooh. All right. Thank goodness the background paper has a little bit of lines. That visually helps me a little bit. All right. So looking good, looking good. Now I cannot focus so much on the worrisomeness of where my title is going to go and if my photo is going to be too large. Now it gives me a little bit more freedom to play with all my other stuff. And I pulled out some American Crafts. It says premium ribbon on it, but I think it's just like twine or whatever you call this, embroidery type string. And it just reminded me of like dental floss or something. You know, like a toothbrushy theme. I don't know. You know, something like that. And I think I want to put it on the bottom. I've never done that before. I've seen so many people do it, and I love the way it looks and I love the way it turns out, but I've never done this, so I don't know how to, you know, make it work, but I'm going to play with it a little bit. Ooh, yes, I like that. Okay, so time to commit to some of these layers here, because now I really do have the full effect of my title, and now I'm out of ATG, and my ATG curled up on top of my photo, but that's okay. These things really happen on live TV. And all right, I'm just looking for my degumming tool. I believe it's an EK Success degumming tool, and I'm just going to do my very best to take away this adhesive from the top of my photo. You know what I think I should do? I should get like a bloopers reel at the end of my videos. That would be so much fun, wouldn't it? But no, I know these kinds of things happen to you too, because they happened to me, and now I just stuck down my photo onto the paper. Oh. Okay, welcome back. I reloaded my ATG. I thought about not continuing with the video because of my boo-boo here and my boo-boo over there, but I thought, nope, that's not what I preach. I try to be as honest as I can with you and encouraging and motivating, so you know what? This is what you get. It's like as if you were in the room with me and I'm scrapbooking and things happen. That's just the way it is. And this paper is not responding to my ATG-ness today, and I'm okay with that, because if I wasn't recording, this is what would be happening, and this is what you need to know. You should be able to say, oh, things like that happen to her too. That's what happens to me. And things don't work out all the time. They're not always perfect, but it's still fun, and it's still salvageable. Nothing bad happened, just some normal glue and paper jams. So now I'm just adding some glossy accents to the thicker parts of the twine here, just to kind of ground that down a little bit. And I'm just going to play with it a little bit more because I do want it to kind of stick out of the photo a bit more, just to give it a little bit more of the dimension. Yep, that looks good. I believe that's what I want. And I am going to use foam dots on this and bring up the whole little layered photo as much as I can. And it's another beautiful morning. It's still winter, it's still freezing, but the sun is shining. So that's always a good, nice, positive thing. And so now, as per usual, as per my style, I'm just gonna crinkle and fold all those layers so so that you can see all that awesome splattering and natural distress that happened with the paper. I'm loving the way that's looking. And I believe that I have to cover up my boo-boo. And I think that's exactly where that's going because it looks good now. And that's what it's meant to do. And at least it's going to ease my mind. Now, this is some Heidi Swap. I think it's paper tape. Maybe it's not. I've never used it before. I don't know how I tore that part, but I bought it a long time ago. But I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I believe that it was Sergio's birthday weekend, so that the number 6 would be, I think that's how old he turned. He turned 6. My son and Sergio are about 6 months apart. So and it's such a fun age. Sergio came over, and I don't know if you have boys around the same age as these guys, but they play Skylanders all day long. All day long, the whole weekend. And when they play, they jump up and down all day long. It's so funny to watch. But they really like this Skylanders thing. I don't know. I don't understand. It's so much character swapping. My husband sometimes plays with the kids and he gets quite annoyed. He's like, stop changing the characters. But I believe that's what they're supposed to do, right? Aren't they supposed to just keep changing the characters? That's how I'm fixing my other boo-boo. I'm putting a mustache on top of it. Okay. So now I just kind of have to assess where I'm at, what I'm doing. Do I want to use this piece of paper for anything? I'm not sure I even want to keep it. See, it's that saber hoarder coming out in me. Do I like it? Because I kind of like it. I think I'm going to keep it. Okay, so we're doing well, and now that I know that this needs a little bit of glossy accents there, just to keep the twine there, a little bit here, a little bit here. Okay. I'm loving it. It's really good. I'm so glad that I didn't give up. And well, I was just going to say I'm sorry, but I have to stop saying that I'm sorry because it's just what happens. You know, it's scrapbooking stuff happens. And I wish I was more perfect. Not really. No. Actually, no. I don't wish I was perfect, because I'll tell you something. I always tell my daughter this, and this is the truth. I always tell her, perfect is boring. There's nothing fun to being perfect. You have to be yourself. You have to be comfortable with who you are. And if you're comfortable with who you are, then you're perfect. And if everyone were the same, it would be even more boring. So, no. I think that I like being real and just being a normal person that sometimes, you know, her ATG runs out and makes a big blobbering mess on her photos. And a lot of times She puts her photos that have been glued down on the opposite side and rips up some pattern paper. So I'm okay with that. And I'm just adding some of this. I believe that's a chevron arrow type stamp, and I really love it. It's a Recollections Studio G stamp set from Michaels, and it had 3 of them, so it's got like the washi tape band-aid looking thing. It looks like a band-aid to me, that's why I say that. And then it's got the dash ones, but it's on top of the packaging because I use it so much. I really love it. And then the other one that I picked up was this one, and it's got the notes and sets and arrows. I don't know why I said sets, but I love this one too. It's a very well loved stamp set. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so I was going to use my splattered other stamp set, but I don't know if I'm going to now because I just thought it was funny. I don't know. This might be a little bit not nice to say, but when my son brushes his teeth, he's not so good at spitting out nicely. It's not very eloquent. It's really very yucky. It kind of looks like the splatter. So that's why I pulled it out, because I thought, oh yeah, that reminds me of brushing teeth with the kids. So I just don't know what color I would want to do that in. And I know it would look great if this was dark and it was white, so it'd be toothpastey-ish, but I think I may just do it in black. Or I got this new Heidi Swap ink the other day from Michaels as well. Michaels doesn't get a lot of new stuff all the time. I've never tried it, as you can see. I'm just opening up the package with you here. I need another block for my... And this one is in the color navy. And it's really nice. Now these stamps naturally come out like that, very splotchy and blotchy. That's the natural look of them. That's what they're supposed to do. So there is no really deep full impression to them. So except for this one, maybe I didn't press on it properly. Good enough. You know what? It's time to throw in the towel. That's good. It's great. I'm getting a little bit annoyed with the whole layout now. I'm not, I'm just kidding. That one's good. Oh, my mat needs to be wiped now before it gets all grungy like the other one. Okay, so this is good. I pre-did my journaling before I worked on this layout, which I really liked. That's my tip for this layout. I really liked doing that. I knew that this paper was going to match. I mean, worst comes to worst, let's just say this didn't work out for you, but you already still wrote it down. So you've got half the job done because it came off your mind. You've written it down. So if you don't want to use that pre-written piece of paper, you can at least write it out and it's already there. It's just copying it over, so it saves you the time. Again, I really like the fact that this was raw. This is how it is. Sometimes, you know, things work out perfect and it's all Mary Poppins and I've got a bag full of tricks and I look like I have magic. And then other times, it's the way it is. I need to put a mustache to cover up